to where the 4E edged him out of the stripe. And it was a great race.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and Joey and Trent get together, Joey Tanner and Trent Elliott. When those guys get together, you're going to see a show. And we saw that. It was so close visually on that particular lap. Before the cars came out, I couldn't tell who was there first.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't. It was so close. But you go around, turn 4, the incident happens with Weinbarger. Those guys cross the stripe through turns 1 and 2, backstretch on the backstretch. Caution comes out. That last time around, the 1E or the 111 was there first. So I'm really, really confused on how this particular rule
played out with this.
Well, just how it works.
Well, because it does not state, from what I've read, it does not state that the leader completes a lap. It's the field completes a lap.
Okay, in that case, then see, that's where my argument has been. My argument has been with this particular rule, because if that's the case, this race is never completed until.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. The way it reads is
right.
The field
right.
completes a lap, not the leader completes a lap.
So this goes back to the argument we had on this show 2 years ago. With that rule written that way, what you just said, okay, means on the last lap, when those guys cross the checkered flag, keep racing, because until the last guy crosses the stripe, nobody's won this deal. Mm-hmm. So you could be sitting third, past 2 guys on the backstretch after you've taken the checkered flag, and get the win because the last place guy hasn't crossed the line. See, that rule to me makes 0 sense.
Mm-hmm. So if they were doing it off of the leader didn't take that lap, didn't complete that lap, and the leader obviously wrecked in front of everyone, so he didn't finish that lap, but the rest of the field did, and that's why they rewound it back to the next one.
But here's the thing.
But no one said that.
But here's the thing about that deal. So a guy spins, he's the leader. He spins. There's 2 guys right there. Now you got a new leader, and they cross the stripe. Then the caution comes out. Somebody led that last lap, and it wasn't the guy that spun out.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? You see how this is such the verbiage of this rule is so broad, and the interpretation of it, I don't understand it. Because on the last lap, when the leader crosses the line, that lap's completed. But during the race, once the leader gets to the stripe, you got to wait for half the field to be passed for a completed lap. That makes no sense. I'm old school. When that car, lead car, hits that stripe, that lap, I don't care what happens, that lap's completed.
But what happens, okay, so you're sitting in the tower, right? And this is where I think it's funny, because you're sitting in the tower. You're in the tower when that lead lap car that's leading the race crosses the line for the transponder. What happens up on the tower?
It registers him as a leader.
It registers that lap down, done, boom.
Right.
As soon as that leader hits.
Right.
It's not counting down until that last car comes by, right?
No.
See?
So when that leader hits and that marker changed, okay, here's a question on the Swear Trucking chat line from Brad Newsom. Half the field was directly in front of the leaders and hadn't finished that lap yet. How do you go back and place them?
A lap down.
You can't put them a lap down because they're not a lap down. But if you can't go back a lap and a half either. See, this is where this rule and the way it's written has always confused me. These guys must have it figured out. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how it works, because you look at how the first lap and the last lap work, but everything in between, you have to have half the field cross to be a completed lap or whatever. I mean,
see, I always understood it as caution comes out, the field is frozen.
And that's would be the easiest way to do this deal. Would be the easiest way to do it. Dom, I can see
I've still been confused with the whole thing in the first place, and it still doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I get what you're saying, but it's like, you're right. How do you figure that out?
Because this came up a couple of years ago, and we talked about it on the show.
I didn't even see the flag in his hand or the light changed until the 111 was across from us directly.
Right.
And he was past that where they see the yellow coming out of 2.
Yes.
He was past that, So he was looking at the yellow that would have come up in turn 3.
Correct.
I didn't see that light change from green to yellow until he was there. And the flag didn't even come out in Jeremy's hand until he was in turn 3.
It was late. It was late. So that's where the confusion lies.
But I think Jeremy got stunned with the, oh, God, nobody... He was as stunned as I was with,
Nobody
the
wrecked?
whole field's going to be done right here. And so his reaction to, okay, they made it. Oh, caution. And he threw the caution late. Now, that happens. You're human. That's going to happen. I can't say that I wouldn't have done the same thing.
Well, I'm not saying anybody did anything wrong.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out how the
But
rule
that's
interprets.
that's how I left confused, is because you didn't throw the caution until he was back there and Joey was ahead. So how did you go a lap back?
Right.
from there?
Almost
And
2
that-
laps.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying is you rewound it almost a lap, 2 laps.
See, this is why I'm old school. I am old school, and it's because I grew up watching this for so many years, and there's going to be a lot of guys that disagree with me. There's going to be a lot of guys that disagree, and I totally understand why they would disagree. But I like the rule of racing back to the yellow. It simplifies everything, and you don't have this happen.
Or you have a bigger caution. It's just why
That's
they
the other
don't do
problem
it.
we had when we raced back to yellow.
And that's the argument to that, and I totally understand it. There were times, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Dom.
No, that's okay.
There were times where, racing back to the yellow, people say, oh, that's not safe, that's not safe.
Yeah, from starting the back, but we're doing that.
Right. But there's not many times in my life I can look back, and I'm talking about Willamette Speedway in particular, where racing back to the yellow actually created more problems.
That's what it seems like it would be to me, because when we do that and someone crashes right in front of the flag stand and we're trying to go, okay, we have to go around it, it becomes a big deal.
Right. Brad Newsom right here. Okay, and I want to Brad's helping us out here. He says the whole field has to complete the lap to count to have a full lap to revert to. Yeah, he checked the race. Yeah, at the checker the race is over, so it doesn't matter. Score a race on paper and it makes a lot more sense. You can't score half the race 38 laps complete and half the field 37 laps complete. I understand that.
Which all of this happened on a restart, so everybody was bunched up.
Right.
So it wasn't like half of them were behind him or in front of him. Everybody was bunched up. They were side by side. Colin got into that tire, and it was a free for
The
all.
whole
to that
thing was
there.
just a mess. It was confusing. There's got to be a simpler solution for this rule. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Dom?
I was just saying, when we race back to yellow and there's somebody smashed, there's an accident in front of the flag stand, we're still trying to go around it fast. I mean,
which is then you're looking at, if it's before the flag stand, then
Yeah.
you're looking at a red flag situation.
But we usually go around it, and I'm just saying.
Right, I get it. I guess the way that rule reads, that is a very, very confusing situation for a lot of people.
Well, Don brought it up the best a couple months ago, where he flat said on a show, we need to literally just have it to where when they check in, it's written out
In black and
in
white.
black and white,
Mhm.
and you're checking in and you're getting your pit pass and
Right.
you have the rule in your hand.
I mean, I think this is a great topic to talk about because it was one of those things that just a lot of people don't understand how it works.
Mhm.
And I think that's what people really want to know is just how does that rule work? If we can just everybody get maybe putting it up on the website,
something.
a Facebook page for everybody to read and understand, much like Brad did here. Which I mean, I get what he's saying; it makes sense.
Mhm.
But it's when you're watching the race and it all happens.
And that happened fast. I mean,
It happened very fast.
It was fast.
It was crazy, and it was kind of like, whoa. I mean, what happened? How does that get determined?
You actually got quiet for, I want to say, 30 seconds.
Well, because we were all kind of confused out there. Like,
Yeah.
how does this work? Again, this is it's a pretty rare happenstance.
Mhm.
You don't see it very often, but when it does happen, it's confusing to a lot of people, especially the fans. Because they're not as involved as we are, or some are just plain
Intoxicated?
Yeah, that's the word. We'll use that word. We'll use that word. I was looking for something.
God.
Thank you.
Inebriated?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Their mind isn't really clear. You got to make it clear for them.
So it's just crazy. That's why, and that is truly why I like the racing back to the yellow. I know that's not going to happen. I don't expect it to.
Why did you even bring it up?
Well, because this is why. I told you why. Because
I know.
Growing up for 40 years, that's what we watched. That's what we did,
And
it just simplified everything. You come across the stripe, that's where you're going to be scored on that lap.
And you're going to see that black flag a lot more if that happens.
I don't know about that.
Well,
I don't know about that. But, I mean, there was a lot of people.
looking at you. Did you look down when there was so many people turned back looking at you like,
what happened? What happened? I'm like,
what's
man,
going on?
I'm not the guy to ask in this situation.
Yeah.
And
I slunk back to the back of the tower just so you're aware.
Well, and that's right. It wasn't a restart. Brad's right when he says it wasn't a restart. I think they had the restart. I think it was a lap before.
Yeah.
But
they were all bunched up.
And Colin was trying to get through lap traffic is
Traffic.
what it was. There was those back markers, and man, that closed things up quick. And that's when everything happened. It was wild. Yeah, you're right. When it all happened, Sam was looking at me, and I'm just kind of like, what just happened? How do we do this? And and Carrie, and she does a great job. She was on it. She knew exactly what call to make according to the way she's been given the rule and how she understands it. But it's just, it's a tornado.
It's two jobs I don't want flat.
Absolutely not. No way. No way. Not a chance.
I'm taking it from this. It was. Do I feel that some guys got the shaft? Yeah, but it's racing. You got bad luck. You got good luck. You're gonna be back at the track to race again. Like,
well, and that's the thing was there wasn't any guys tore up. That I could not believe everybody made it through that deal without getting into the 16 car, and that was nuts.
Know.
That was absolutely nuts.
Because they were low. I mean, that was
everybody
probably,
was in the same groove.
Yeah,
they were too wide in the same groove.
But Colin took that lower than the low needed to be, and there was guys on his bumper following him through it.
Well, Colin knew that if he went to the outside, he was going backwards. He wasn't going around those lap cars on the outside. He had to protect that bottom. Unfortunately, there was other cars there, and what happened? It happened so fast. It was kind of like, I can't believe what I'm watching. Nobody could because it was clear that 16 car was probably going to win that race until the lap traffic changed everything, and that's what makes dirt track racing so great.
Did you ever find out if that was a 525? Joey drove it. He ought to know.
I have no idea.
Joey, is it a 525 in the 16 car?
I don't know. Well, we'll find out. Brad might know. I mean, he's tight with that group up there. All in all, pretty wild race. Boring race up until the last couple of laps. Then things got real exciting, and I'll tell you, Dom, it was pretty wild up there because I'm sitting there in the Moxie Tower watching this race, and I at one point just kind of set my mic down and kind of put my hands up like, we're following the leader here. We're following the leader. And then, they got to lap traffic, and that's when I said, okay, race fans, lap traffic
will be
maybe a factor. And sure enough, everything changed right there.
I said it will be.
I jumped out of my seat. Sam moves back. I mean, they're like, uh-oh, Corey's fired up. Give him some room. It was wild, man.
Well, it was like they came up on him quick. It was like they're gaining, and then boom, they're there.
525. You're right.
See, I told you that up in the tower. Those 520. I need some open motors. I need May to come back. I need it just one more time before the end of the season.
See, he's an open guy.
I am.
I love open motors, but I'm telling you right now, these 525s.
What was that guy that you guys sent me the video where he was like, "You're gonna run a Ford. You know the problem with that. The rock hits it. Yeah." And he's like, I searched the old interweb. Open motor means open motor.
Yeah.
I'm an open motor guy.
Everybody loves opens. I mean, everybody loves opens.
Yeah.
But right now, in the dirt track world, what's winning races?
Not my love.
It's the CT 525. And it's not because there's more of them. It's because they work. They're putting power on the ground, and they're every bit as fast as your 434s and your 421s, your 406, and
but
your 410s.
But it doesn't make the hair on my arm stand up and me start shaking violently. I'm sorry. There's something about it.
I'm not even going to read that on the air, Joey Tanner. And it's a great argument.